Battlefield 5 was not my favorite entry in the franchise, so instead of dwelling on what they could do to improve in that game, I am looking to the future and detailing 10 things that I want in the next Battlefield. Whether that is Bad Company 3 or BF6, we do not know yet. My name is Troy Harrison Christ. Drop a like and subscribe, and then let me know what you would like to see in the next game in the comments below. The most important feature for me is that I would love if the next BF had a modern setting. Many of us were a bit disappointed when the title Battlefield 5 was announced and it was not a sequel to BF4. Hopefully, the next chapter in the series is a current-day FPS. I realistically would rather have them end support for this and put all of their energy into the next installment. I would not even be mad if they didn't pick a specific war to set the game in. Give me modern weapons, 2 teams, great graphics, and throw the rest aside. And that leads me to the next section. The second thing that I want is for DICE to just skip the campaign. In my opinion, they have not made a decent single-player game since Battlefield Bad Company 2, and that really wasn't a groundbreaking experience. How many people play BF specifically for non-multiplayer modes? I know you're out there, let me know if you are down below. But as far as the last 2 games go, why did they even waste their time? At this point, DICE makes the most expensive video game tutorials ever. They mocap actors, find historical points, write stories, spend millions of dollars. And why do they do that? I play Battlefield to get 40 frags in Conquest, not to learn how to fly a plane on PC controls. Would they be better off ditching this hole in EA's pocket they call a campaign and just focus on making quality multiplayer? Yes, they would. If the Bad Company 3 rumors are to be true, then fans of those games will really want a single-player mode, leaving a huge divide with those of us who are tired of having a small amount of maps in multiplayer. Number 3, I want 20+ maps. If DICE was to pull this no solo mode strat, it would greatly benefit all of us who actually play Battlefield day in and day out. BF5 launched with 8 maps. Are you kidding me? 8? For how far video games have advanced, why has the number of maps deemed acceptable to ship stayed so low? Mostly greed and terrible budgeting. Let's say I only like 4 of those maps. 2 I will tolerate and 2 are just the worst. That leaves me with an incredibly redundant experience where only 50% of it is actually enjoyable. If DICE cut out single player, they would most likely have the money to more than double the amount of launch maps. I want 20 maps at launch for the next BF. With only 8, day 1 you have played all of them, learned most of them, and been bored of a few. If they doubled or tripled this amount, people who played on day 1 would want to keep playing, because in 5 hours, they might never get a duplicate. And with 20, the amount of variation in design choices it would force onto the team would make for a much longer lasting, enjoyable, and more profitable video game. Why spend money on fancy actors when 90% of the player base is only playing Conquest and Rush? We need way more variety in the next BF, and something that could really help with this is what I am talking about next. Number 4, it's time for Frostbite 4. It is no lie that when it comes to graphics, DICE and EA have one of the best engines around. But when thinking about bugs, performance, basic features, and a declining level of quality control, the Frostbite 3 engine is a mess and is due for an update for the next generation of consoles coming soon. Frostbite 3 has been used for 6 years now, since Battlefield 3 in 2013, and Battlefield 5 is made on this same framework. It is absolutely time for a change. If the next game just looks like another reskinned BF1, fans will realistically not be interested. Again. A review for any new Battlefield game should sound like this. The gameplay is awesome, it looks better than the last one, it sounds amazing. If you like first-person shooters, buy this. It should not sound like this. It does not support SLI, so I returned it. Not only does this engine need a massive overhaul for BF, but maybe add some features so the role-playing games are not a buggy mess as well. Yeah, thanks, Mass Effect fans. Alright, moving on to number 5. I want simple leveling. Wouldn't you just love if all video games, the next Battlefield included, would finally ditch this coin unlock system for multiplayer? Where you do challenges, acquire currency, and then buy whatever you want? The system was born out of the microtransaction era as a way for players to buy coins with real-world money instead of just buying the gun or the skin. It was designed to confuse people on exactly how much real-world money they had spent on an item because it was converted into credits, coins, war bonds, that kind of thing. This type of leveling system is not fun, and it was literally made out of greed, not gameplay. I miss the good old days when leveling up was simple. You don't get this until this level. We understood that, and we grinded to get the max rank. Now we have no incentive to level up. I just get to the class that I like and I use it over and over again. Hopefully the next BF goes to something similar to Battlefield 3 or 4. Or hey, even look at how Call of Duty Modern Warfare did it. All I know is I'm not cool with these military coins. If we were actually fighting in the army, would we be buying all of our gear? No. Why do we do it in video games? I have no idea. Since EA has moved away from loot boxes, I think it would make a lot of sense if they finally ditched the dumb leveling system they created for microtransactions. Just makes sense. Moving on to number 6. I want QSpotting to return. It realistically didn't make much sense when DICE decided to remove QSpotting in Battlefield 5. It did not affect gameplay the way they intended. The original problem with QSpotting was that people felt like they were getting shot from players they couldn't see because they had already been spotted and now the entire team knows exactly where they are. The thing is, when they removed it, it didn't drastically change anything. I still die all the time from people I never saw and never had a chance to spot, and that's just fine. The only difference I find without Q-spots is that you have a lot less help from teammates in gunfights. When you play Battlefield 4 or 3, you will get a ton of assists because your teammates know exactly when you are pinging someone. In BF5, I get way more 1v1 fights, and that is totally because of the removal of that system. So they tried it, it didn't make the game more fun, so maybe they should go back to the old ways. Bring back Q-spotting. Number 7. I want a polished AAA game. This is less of a gameplay feature, but something that I find incredibly important. Battlefield Bad Company 3 or BF6, whatever they call it, needs to be a 100% ready to go, polished AAA game on day 1. DICE has had some of the worst launches in video game history, releasing quality games in such a broken state that they end up getting horrible reviews, and players will stay away from it, even if those problems get fixed in the future. Battlefield 1, 4, 5, and Battlefront 2 come to mind. I realistically do not think this is their fault. With EA as their publisher, they have to release in the quarter they demand, and it often leads to really bad starts for a lot of their games. Seems like EA would rather put out a broken game on time than a perfect game late, and they often prioritize the minimum amount of content necessary to release without going over budget. If they want the next Battlefield to be amazing and make a lot of money, EA needs to let DICE have as much time and resources to do so. I don't care when this game comes out, I can wait. I just want it to be good. There's gonna be a ton of big games coming out in 2019, so hopefully EA doesn't try to squeeze Battlefield into an early window. Instead, let DICE take their time and make the Battlefield we deserve. Number 8. Back to my earlier points on having 20+ maps, I think a great way to achieve this level of variety is by remastering a few Battlefield 3 and 4 maps into the Frostbite 4 engine. This would be the perfect way to get players who have left the franchise back, and a good way to add a lot of content very quickly. If they can import and update some old assets, that would go a bit faster than hand designing everything from scratch. Like I said, I don't care if they're real places. I don't care if the timeline doesn't make sense. I don't care if they are big or small. Give me modern Battlefield with a bunch of maps so I don't get bored as fast. Which classic BF maps would you like to see remastered in the next game? Let me know in the comments down below. Alright, number 9, realistic sniping. Like many of you, I play the Battlefield games because it is one of the most realistic and immersive first-person shooters you can find. Almost everything about the game keeps me locked in. The environments, the sound, and the beautiful 3D models. It doesn't even bug me that you can play as a female Asian soldier with a robot arm who fights for the Germans in World War II. If you guys want to piss off history buffs, whatever, you do you. What does, however, really grind my gears is that when I'm sniping, I get so mad at the lack of thought that they really put into this. Think about it. Why are only headshots a one-hit kill? If you got shot in the stomach, heart, or how about your neck, you would most likely 99% of the time be dead. In Battlefield 5, you just keep running. I don't want to go as far to say as getting shot in the foot should make you limp, although that would be cool, but for the love of God, could we make a shot to the chest at least knock someone down for a second? Maybe that's just me who wants this because I almost exclusively snipe, but I think they could really explore some less nerfed options for sniping that add a bit more logic to the game. They also definitely need to work on the ragdoll of enemies after they have been shot as well. The angle they get shot from almost has no impact on the way the enemy falls. All in all, I just think they could do so much more with the Recon or Scout class. Number 10, SLI support. This next section will not affect console players, but this is very important to me and thousands of others. Battlefield Bad Company 3 or Battlefield 6, whatever they end up calling it, needs to have support for 2 graphics cards on the PC. This is called SLI or AMD Crossfire. The problem is with the new cards, they rebranded SLI as NVLink and then just didn't support it. After every modern BF game has had this basic feature, use both of my graphics cards because I bought them, it was removed in order to promote the sales of RTX graphics cards. This is not speculation, it is common knowledge. The worst part is that I fixed SLI support in Battlefield 5 very easily, so there was legit no reason for them to not have it in the game. Their branding partnership with Nvidia has actually turned into a huge problem because the internet collectively said, yeah, we don't really care about your fancy RTX lighting, we want better FPS. With the obvious shift to Frostbite 4 incoming, I am actually very pessimistic that they will add SLI support. But if they don't, I'll just fix it for them again. Alright, that is the end of the video. Drop a like, click that bell icon so you never miss anything I ever post, and let me know in the comments what you want in the next game, and also let me know if you think it is going to be Bad Company 3 or Battlefield 6. My name is Troy Harrison Christ. Check out some of my other videos if you're bored. Alright, have a good day, have a good night, have a good week, have a good month, have a good life, have a good one. Peace.